Hi everyone, in this week's dispatch video we are talking about something that's extremely topical at the moment but may well not apply directly to your workplace, and that's the issue of strikes, striking workers, and new legislation which has been introduced in the House of Commons. This is the Strikes Minimum Service Levels Bill 22 to 23. This bill is intended, according to the government, to ensure that striking workers don't put the public's lives at risk and prevent people getting to work, accessing healthcare, and safely going about their daily lives. The bill makes minimum service regulations for strikes in relevant services, so that's critical fields such as health, transport, education, fire and rescue, and border control, mainly. Where a union calls a strike in a service to which these minimum service regulations will apply, the employer may, having first consulted the union, give a work notice. So that identifies the workers that are required to work, the work they're required to do, and that will ensure that the minimum service level is met during the strike. That removes quite a lot of leverage for unions in critical services, because the one big fear is if there is no service provision, for example in nursing, are people's lives put at risk? And the union will lose its immunity from liability if it fails to take reasonable steps to ensure compliance by its union members. Now, the bill would also amend unfair dismissal rights, so any worker who is given a notice and takes part in a strike that, to the extent that it's not permitted by the notice, will lose automatic protection from dismissal. At the moment, they do have that protection, but the minimum strikes service levels bill is intended to change that. Fairly recently, so at the end of April, the bill had its first day in the House of Lords. During that scrutiny, 4 key amendments, all opposed by the government, unsurprisingly, were voted on. These were that the government may not exercise the power to specify minimum service levels until such powers have been scrutinised by a committee. If any employee fails to comply with the work notice, that wouldn't be considered a breach of contract or lawful grounds to terminate employment. Employers seeking an injunction would not be able to do so if the amendment was passed under the bill, and it would only apply in England. Now, as I say, the government's rejected all of those amendments. What that would do is ensure that the bill essentially lost its teeth. It would have no real impact if there was no punishment for breaking the rules on the strikes. If employees cannot be punished, in a sense, by being dismissed if they fail to comply with the minimum service provisions, there's no real disincentive for the employee to ignore those regulations. So the government will not accept those amendments. The bill will return to the House of Commons. That is likely to delay the bill passing through, but ultimately we think that this will become law. So we'll eventually come to a position where in critical services, when we do have strikes such as those organised by the nursing unions and fire services recently, there will be a minimum service which has to be provided, which is intended to protect the public. Ultimately, it is likely to weaken the union's hand in those negotiations. As I say, it's not particularly common that you may face this in your own workplace, but if you do need any assistance in this area, please do get in touch. Visit the website chadwicklawrence.co.uk or email employmenthub@chadlaw.co.uk. Thank you.